DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. We already have a lively and rowdy chat going on here. The founder of Taco Bell, he was a good dude. He was a good dude, all right. But also in other news, it's always a good day when my name does not come up. But pressing questions. Did Winston's probably. Hello, everybody, and we are, as always, excited to be here, starting things out. Winston, how are you doing? What do you feel like the odds that your name came up with this 2-hour interrogation of the police? And what's going on fight-wise in today's AMA?
First, so I'm going to answer that police question by not answering it. I'm not going to incriminate myself.
That's a good choice.
Don't know what I'm doing here. Come on. Secondly, I am absolutely, I didn't know this Taco Bell fact, and I am absolutely tickled that the guy who started Taco Bell's last name is Bell. Like, I think that's one of the funnier, like the gas station, Chevron or something, started by James R. Chevron, and his grandson, Terry Chevron, and it's hilarious that the dude's last name is actually Bell, like Taco Bell, founded by Glenn Bell. Amazing.
I feel like most companies are named after their founder.
Yeah,
no, I know they are, but sometimes you get you wouldn't think Taco Bell is named after a dude named Bell, right? Like you'd think it's just like you run for the border because you hear the Taco Bell.
Is he related to Alexander Graham Bell, though?
Let's get the chat going, find out about that. I'm not gonna. That's not on me to research, I don't think. Things are good, Bolon. You got 6 minutes, everybody, to vote on Esper v. Broody. Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, Broody is Bad Eric. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
He's trying to escape his past. But yeah, Esper versus Broody. 25 Jewel on that one. There's also going to be Ibla and Kurt Hokage fighting, and then Mello is going to fight the winner of Esper and Broody. Second round in 25 minutes. Just go vote on this one now. You see somebody's already voted on it quite a bit. Just go vote on this one now, and then as soon as this one is over, go vote on Mello against the winner, and then finally 100 Jewel there to somebody who votes correctly, to many somebodies who vote correctly. So I'm gonna just call this out so I can get ahead of it. I thought I was being hilarious. Oh, I guess you guys can't see. You guys, I'm gonna call this one my bad because I do not have my screen shared at all. So okay, here we go. Anyway, all those things I said, go vote on this one. You got 4.5 minutes. Also vote on this one. You got 25 minutes or whatever, but still just vote on it. Get it done now. Don't wait. And I thought I was being hilarious saying that this was hosted by the Florida State Police here to get Bolon, take him away. And I spelled Florida wrong. It's Florida. Florida.
If it makes you feel better, the police departments in Florida also generally can't spell, so it's very possible that's on the side of a cop car right now.
Yeah. You think if I just played it cool, nobody would have noticed?
No, I do think people would have noticed. If you met our community, they'd have noticed.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad I got out ahead of it. I didn't, I don't want to take any chances on my reputation as someone who knows how to spell Florida. I usually a pretty solid speller of Florida, and this time got away from me. But let that be a lesson to everybody. You can't really make fun of somebody if you spell it wrong, so you got to double check things. And I guess this really isn't even making fun of you, but if you want to hit your joke and land it, just make sure you read it back.
Should we comment on capitalization of names as well
Mind your
while
business.
we're at it?
No, I kind of did that on purpose just to slight
We're only
lower-
focused on spelling, not grammar.
Yeah, no, it's a lowercase. I'm sticking it to him a little bit, just a little bit. This tournament is just going to be jewel rewards for the players, so it's more bragging rights than anything else. It's gonna be good. I think that's pretty much it for me. I've probably taken more time than I should have for these shenanigans. So back to you, Bolon. Maybe check on Hubert, see what he's doing.
It's always good to take a few extra minutes for shenanigans. But that said, Hubert, how are you doing?
Oh, hi. Yeah, there's this guy named Tony King who made Burger King. Just in case you didn't know, actually, that's probably very
Anthony
much
P.
not true. I'm doing pretty well. Thank you, Bolon, for asking. Yeah, I got a decent sleep last night, so even though I probably still sound tired, decent sleep is like 6 hours. That's decent.
I agree with that. All right. With that, we are going to go into some updates, and then we will kick into the questions. First and foremost, you probably already noticed that we do not have Dreamer here with us today. However, that should not come as a surprise because you should be paying attention to our tweets. And if you were, you would already know that Dreamer is currently in Singapore at Token 2049. He ended up getting an offer from somebody to fly him out there. So he is rubbing shoulders with a lot of people, out there at Token 2049 in Singapore. So greatly appreciate him making a very, very, very last minute flight halfway around the world. And looking forward to hearing more about Token next week when I'm sure he rejoins us, unless he gets his traditional post-conference sickness, in which case it may be the following week. But we'll see. Hopefully not. Fingers crossed he makes it home healthy. Speaking of next week's AMA, you will also have a most wonderful experience in next week's AMA because it will be hosted by Winston. I will be out next week. I will actually be primarily out all of next week. So if you need me, shoot me a message, but I'll probably be slow to respond. But Winston will be taking over the hosting duties of the AMA for me. So thank you in advance for that, Winston. Let's see here. One more update. Hubert, going to throw it over to you. We have made some updates to off-season tournaments.
Yeah, that's true. So starting tomorrow with the next batch of tournaments, which we'll be getting out today, we will be increasing the USDC rewards a bit. There we've noticed there hasn't been too much traction with people doing the off-season tournaments, so we're going to see if juicing that up a little bit will help. So the first place prize is increasing from $5 to $8. The second place I think went from $3 to $4, and then third and fourth place will get $1.50 instead of $1. So I think as long as you make it to the second round, I think it's more than break even with the entry fee. So hopefully that will be appealing to guys, and I hope to see more people joining those, and we'll see how that goes from here.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And yeah, still keeping those as a little more casual in the off season, but hoping to see you guys get out there and compete and, still win some prizes. Hey, nothing wrong with winning some USDC, right? All right. With that, let's jump into questions, much like our first round of fighters are jumping into this battle. Hubert, we got to start with you. Will players be able to craft weapons and armor in the future?
Yes, that is the plan.
Any ideas or information you can give on how powerful we expect those items to be able to be?
I think that there will definitely be a pretty big range. We need to have recipes that will be, for low level crafters that aren't going to be very good items. But I also would like there to be like rare ingredients that you can find out there, and make something that's very nice if you can get those rare ingredients. So I think we'll see kind of a range, and also it's going to depend on like the crafting abilities of the heroes used as well. So it's going to be the plan is for it to be pretty robust. If anyone's played Final Fantasy 11, that's kind of closer to the system that I have in mind. But that's just as an example. I'm not going to copy it or anything. But in that game with crafting, it was a pretty involved process, and there were some things that required very rare ingredients to craft, and those things were generally very highly prized. So it's kind of what I'm hoping to be able to create with the crafting system. But then there's also things that are low quality as well that the beginner crafters craft. So
at the highest end of things, would you expect that the absolute like best of the best cream of the crop gear would be something that would be craftable, or something that would be found through like PvE or PvP content?
that's a good question. I think it's hard to say. I would hope that we'd have enough variety out there that there could be some craftable gear that is competitive with findable gear. And I could see a world where sometimes one side has a little bit more of an advantage, or more provides a little bit more of an edge than the other. But if it is something that's craftable, I would say that to be the really high top tier stuff, it's going to have ingredients that are very hard to come by. So just like things that finding an ingredient is kind of the same thing. It's like you've basically found this piece of equipment, but it has to actually be created using crafting. So
nice. I like that. Very nice. And then you kind of already answered this, I think, but just to clarify, will there be some kind of schematics or recipe that needs to be found for, or created, or whatever, for crafting?
So we haven't finalized everything at this point. I do like the idea of there needing to be also recipes that are found or acquired in some way, and not just giving everyone access to everything at all times. I think especially for a game where all of the items in the game are assets that people own, creating an ecosystem where it's it requires effort and acquisition, things like that, to be able to generate them, I think is probably the right direction to go in. But again, we haven't really gotten into designing the crafting system yet. Focus on other things at the moment. So this is all just kind of the general ideas at this point. But
hang on, I got you. There we go. We're good. We're covered now.
Well done. Well done, Bolon. Sorry, if I could just butt in super duper quick and just comment on this bout. So we're seeing Broody fighting Esper, both heavily rerolled heroes, both fairly standard traits. Nothing too crazy in the trait section here. We do see Exhaust with Broody's Seer. And then Esper has got the Call of the Colosseum. He's running that already. Stalwart. So nothing too crazy as far as the skills go, but these guys have all been re-rolled just straight to hell and back. So these are all really strong heroes, despite not having any extremely powerful or exalted traits, or even elite traits in this case. So also, I'm really stoked to see Broody playing a oh my god, that was a big crit from Parlay there. He's also going to take 31 additional damage. Holy shit. Well, I was just going to say, I'm really stoked to see Broody playing like a medium damage priest. I mean, I guess this is a damage priest, right? Like if you got these two, you're playing damage. So I'm excited to see that. And also using the spell potion early on, trying to increase that damage right off the bat, trying to take control of this bout. But both of them have quite a bit of health. Atrophy has begun. I did do shorter bouts, shorter bout times this time around, so they should be done a little bit more quickly. But yeah,
Coliseum active as well.
Yeah, for sure. For a little bit longer. I think this might be the last tick.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
got to be
here
coming
it's
close to, yeah.
going away. Yeah, this is pretty evenly matched. I think either one of them could do. Actually, this priest is probably going down here.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
big.
he's down. It
That's a
was
big
pretty
crack.
evenly matched there, except Esper was able to chain a couple of strong damage attacks together. I was just gonna say it seemed like Broody was going more for not sustain, but it seemed like he was looking to walk off a few hits and try to use a little bit of outlasting here. Maybe basic attacks here with the basic attacks or mana efficient attacks with the warrior, and just kind of wear down this front guy. But with the priest going down, that's going to be pretty unlikely. Also, Esper is most certainly queuing up all I can say is a clobbering pyroclast, and he's also got chill on both of these guys. So the pyroclast is just going to be even that much stronger. So I don't know. This one might be buttoned up soon unless Broody pulls something out. So we'll see what happens. I will fire off another update after this one's over. Everyone, don't forget to go vote on the bout that is there already. Don't forget to do that. And then shortly after this is over, you should be able to vote on. I mean, I don't want to call it, but it seems like Esper against Mellow Fellow, if I recall correctly, who the other person is. So thanks, Bolan. Back to this is going back into your capable hands.
Nice. Thank you, Winston, for the expert analysis. We will stay tuned for more. Question from chat, Hubert, that I feel like is kind of a trick question for you at this stage, but I'm going to throw it out anyway. Will bloaters be an ingredient for equipment crafting?
Yeah, I think that answer you just threw up there is, the bloaters can be gold, and gold will definitely be involved. So, if nothing else, but we'll see. I could see there being other things we can do with the profession items as well. So,
any thoughts on the cadence of codex releases, and do we have any kind of insight, for example, on like how many hours it takes per codex?
Yeah, so it does take a while. We do try to balance everything to a degree where we feel it's not going to be game breaking to release the class. With like Pirate, for example, we spent a little bit less time than we did with Wizard, but it was pretty intensive when we were doing it. So I think we had several testers doing testing. Like getting it actually implemented takes probably I don't actually keep track of other people's hours, so I'm not sure how much time Beetle spent on it. But it typically is like once he says, okay, this is the thing I'm working on and focusing on, you probably don't hear an update on it being done for at least a week. Typically it's longer than that, I would say. But and then then there's usually some bugs that need to be found and fixed too, so then there's additional time fixing those, and then balancing requires additional time adjusting skills, and sometimes we have to completely revamp skills because some were just not a great idea, it turns out, things like that. So so it really kind of depends on how well of a first shot we do, which as we go through this, we do make a lot of edits to like the initial pass of the codexes, and before it even goes into implementation. And we have done that already for I think all of them in the basic tier. It's like they've all had like a second and third pass on them prior to going to implementation. But we only have a small team, and if we want Beetle to be working on something different, then that basically means there's not work going on into implementation either. So there's always going to be kind of a balance between, are we implementing a class right now, or are we focused on something else? And if we like with Wizard and Pirate, we went kind of quickly from, okay, we're going to focus on Wizard. Once that's done, we're focusing on Pirate. There were adjustments to the tournament system that we had to make in between all of that, but there was a pretty dedicated focus there. And right now we are focused on other systems. So it'll be a little bit before we turn back to the next class. But with that said, I mean, there's generally work going on in some fashion at any given time. Like there is artwork that has been done for the skills of at least the next 2 classes, and then I believe the third class is being worked on as well from now, I would say. And like there's kind of a pipeline. A lot of things have to come together, but it's kind of hard to give like an actual numerical answer to that, because it kind of depends a lot. Like Wizard took a long time because it introduced the AP system, which was more involved. And when we get to the classes that have disarm, which Legionnaire and Monk have that, we need to introduce subclasses at that point. So that's going to take a long time too.
For sure. Yeah, and it's always tricky too. Like it's very rare that we are able to all in focus on a single task. We're generally progressing multiple things at a time. So, even within those time frames, that's not accounting for, hey, Beetle, we need you to do this other thing real quick, and then also this other thing real quick. And same thing for our testers as well. Winston and Sachet in particular start getting in there, but then we have something else that we need them to test because we're trying to get a bug fix out or whatever the case may be. Awesome. I do appreciate the insight there. Let's see. This next one, actually, I'll kick off, but if you want to...
Let me see if I can just sneak in. Sorry. So sorry.
I don't believe you, but you're still good.
I'm not sorry. So I'm going to just squash some dissent here in the chat. So I think that this is kind of a backhanded, it's a compliment to our shoutcasters, but also I think it might be backhanded. I think he might be saying something about Bolon and myself. So I just wanted to clarify that 100% of my predictions happened. There was a crazy pyroclast. Everything went down exactly as old Unky Winston said it was going to go down. And here we are. Now we've got Esper v. Mellowfellow, both great players. We just saw Esper. That's pretty cute, man. We both saw Esper. I don't want to say trounce Broody, but it was a pretty clean, cut him right off at the knees, got his priest out of the way fairly early, pretty clean victory. On the other hand, we know Mellowfellow, he don't play. Let me just say that. He don't play. These heroes don't play. They've also been rerolled quite a bit. They have slightly better traits as well. But also this is going to be a high damage team. Both of these are going to be high damage and fast, and just trying to cut the other one's head off as quickly as possible. So yeah, get in there and vote on those. We only have like 7 million votes on these, so 50 Joule going to somebody. Hopefully this one has a lot more votes. Hey, that's less actually. So get over and vote on the other one. That doesn't make any sense. But get over and vote on the other one too. I actually haven't voted on this one. Who should I vote for? I haven't looked at that. I think I got to vote on Ibla. He's got the full all-star, he's geared. Doesn't play around with that, Sundering Wave. I think I got to do that. I'm gonna vote on Ibla.
Yeah. You got to keep those geese in line. So watch out for the gooses.
Straight up. Troublesome gooses. So get in there and vote on both of those. I'll probably open both of them up and kind of toss them back and forth and try to talk about them.
Make sure whenever a pivotal moment is coming up, you switch to the other fight.
That's honestly, that's kind of my claim to fame, is being like, this one's, this is pretty much nothing really exciting happening here, and just moving to the next one. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, I'll pop back up here and there to talk about these, and I'll probably just bounce back and forth and try to stay on the exciting one at the time. So they're both going to be exciting, but the more exciting one of the time.
Nice. So yeah, this next question I'll kick off, and then Hubert, if you want to add anything, feel free. But it's essentially asking if we can give some additional insight into our thought process for season 2 of PvP tournaments, and that the asker feels it would be good to have some more opportunity for public discussion of said plans. So I'll say a couple things. First and foremost, I agree. It would be good to have some opportunity for public discussion. That said, I don't think we're at that point just yet. While we have started, a little bit of a framework for season 2, honestly, we are not as focused on getting season 2 of tournaments out just yet. There's a couple of other things that we are wanting to get in place first prior to season 2 going live. So while we have given it some thought, we have not gone too far into design and everything just yet, because we want to get these other pieces in place and design it with those in mind, and then we would be able to speak a little bit more publicly on it so that you guys can sound off, and I'm sure completely 100% agree and support everything that we plan to do with no suggestions whatsoever, right? That'll be the day. Anyway, but yeah, so stay tuned for more on that front. We do agree in general with sharing the plan ahead of time. We just aren't quite to that stage yet. Hubert, if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free, but I'm also going to throw you the next question as well. Have we finished designing the Halloween skin for this year?
That is a good question, and it's a reminder that it is October now, which my wife keeps reminding me about as well, because we need to get Halloween costumes and stuff for the little one. We'll see. I guess no. No is the honest answer, but we will get that figured out and see what we're going to do there. So. Yeah, it's already Halloween already. That's crazy.
Yeah, right. I did very much appreciate the assumptive question here, though. That was a nice style choice there. But yeah, nothing decided or designed, but we will get in on that and get rolling.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. It's October, all right? Like, let's not ruin Halloween by making it like Christmas, where people that all of December is, holidays. And
what do you mean all of December? It'll be Christmas on November 1st, the way that a lot of people are. I disagree with it, but I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want that. I like Halloween. So I heard a really great.
Oh my God, Costco has so much Christmas stuff out already. It's insane.
They're done with Halloween at Costco. So.
Yeah.
I had a really great plan to fix, how February only has 28 days and all the other months have 30 or 31, and sometimes February has 29, and who gives a shit about that second Halloween? Just give February 29 days or 30 days all the time. Halloween, October 31st, we get Halloween 2 every 4 years, October 32nd. And we just get, once in a while, we just get 2 Halloweens instead of some bullshit day in February nobody cares about.
Wait, how does this work? What?
We're going to give leap years. February doesn't get a thing.
So some months have 30, some months have 31. February has 28. Yeah. If we just get February, leveled out with everybody else, we'll still have a day left over when we need it for leap year. So all of the day months are 30. And then I think maybe this is where I messed up. There isn't a 32nd of Halloween. All the months are 30. And then once in a while, there's a 31st of Halloween.
There are more than 2.
Right. 31. There's 6 months with 31 days.
Yeah, but you just move them around, trust me on this one. All right. This is still on paper. We're still, I've got some guys working through the math side of it, but listen, this is just a meme that I saw. So I'm just trying to get 2 Halloweens going on here.
The years.
You guys appreciate that?
Years no longer work correctly.
And we can't even get daylight savings time gone, man.
Florida voted to get rid of daylight savings time 12
Did you
years
say Florida?
Ago.
He did.
I did it on purpose. We voted for daylight savings time 12 years ago, and we still haven't been allowed to do it. So I think shifting the entire calendar might be a little bit ambitious.
I mean, if we're gonna, this is what we should. Okay, here's the deal. When you want to get something done, right? You want to get something done. You don't ask for the thing you want to get done. You ask for something crazy that's 10 times crazier than the thing you want to get done. But the thing you want to get done is like right at the beginning.
You've been
So like we
spending
go
too much time in our Discord.
What's that?
I think, Winston, what you're thinking is we really need everything to go to 28 days and have a 13th month is
Yeah.
that actually be more close to even, and then you only have like
Yeah.
That's not what I think at all.
Well,
March.
what
We'll
you
have
were
a nice
saying was
March
wrong.
weather.
Okay.
But no, here's what we do. We
Winston is
propose
saying-
this insane idea to change all the calendar stuff, and they're like, "No, man, that's bananas." And like, well, can we at least like get rid of daylight savings time? And they'll be like, "That we can do." But the plan was all
I'm gonna
along to
give
get
you
rid
a
of daylight
1 week
savings time.
timeout from DFK Discord because they're rubbing off on you.
Dude, I don't know, man. This is kind of nefarious, but it's also like that's politics. You ask for way more than you want, and then ultimately you kind of land around what you actually want. Crazy calendar reform, and we'll get daylight savings time. Trust me on this.
All right, you
Carry on with the questions, Bolon.
Hubert, I have a series of questions for
My
you
bad.
Let's do
that
it.
that are unrelated to the calendar.
Okay.
But they are related to durability and enchanting and dusting.
Okay.
Specifically, dusting. Will equipment with higher durability give more equipment dust?
No, it's the opposite, actually. The lower the durability and repairs, the more dust you will get from the equipment.
Well, and so to clarify, you're talking about like when you go to dust it, the less durability and repairs left, the more dust you get, right?
Say that again.
So you're like when you go to actually dust the item, the less durability and repairs it has, the more dust you get, right?
Meaning it has been repaired more times and has received more durability damage, then yes,
Right.
that is correct. So you can kind of think of it as like the dust is kind of experience that your equipment has generated, and like the more it's used, the more it has to offer. So you can still dust anything that has like full durability, full repairs. You just get about like 1/10 the amount of dust that you could potentially get from the equipment. And then like if the question's like you just overall like mythic equipment can have like 250 total durability, or I think actually 300 if you consider all repairs plus its like durability amount. Like those typically will give you more dust in general, just by virtue of them being like rarer equipment compared to like the equipment from the gold shop, which only has like 10 durability and 5 repairs, so like 60 durability total. Like those are going to give a lot less dust, even if you get them all the way down to 0.
So that's where I was going with that is like, could you look at the like total amount of durability that an item has and assume that it will give more dust than an item with less total durability?
I would say yes in general. There may be some exceptions to that, but
Like
yes.
party nuts.
Yeah, there may be some like that.
Got it. Winston, you described that very poorly, just for the record.
Well, it's like I said, it was a meme that I read, and like that's always how it goes. You're trying to tell a meme, and then it's like it makes no sense, and then you pull it up, and it's like, okay, I get it now. So,
Also, for the record, you could move the leap year without making February 30 days. Like those two things have nothing to do with each other. You could be
it's just they're
February
trying to fix
28th
problems,
and just move the leap year.
They're just trying to fix problems.
All right. Anyway, so far we've established that an item that has more durability is likely to give more dust than an item that has less total durability. But the more durability and repairs that you consume off of an item, the more dust that item will give you compared to if you do not do that. So that actually answers the second question, which is, will equipment that is repaired more often give more equipment dust? Yes. If so, will this be more than the dust it costs to repair?
I gotta pause real quick to be like, did you guys see that animation that just happened right now.
Dude, that was kind of awesome. Even though it's not supposed to work that way. It was kind of awesome.
Gotta forward this replay to Beetle. So
Well, now I'm sad because I didn't see it.
it was like humongous full screen ghost Kraken that popped up like 3 or 4 different times.
Oh, cool. Maybe it should work that way though.
And yeah, I didn't hear anything of your question because I was just mesmerized by that. So what was that again?
You're good. So the second question, which we already answered, is will equipment that is repaired more often give more equipment dust? Yes, it will. If so, will this be more than the dust it costs to repair?
It does not cost dust to repair anything. So
yes, it will be more because the cost is 0.
Yeah, it costs gold to repair.
Nice. Thank you, sir.
Sorry to butt in. I think I fixed this. I got them both going now, so I should be able to like pretty easily jump back and forth between them. So sorry about that. I don't know how it got all spun out there. It was that website that was telling us about months just took a bite out of my
got a
computer.
virus from that meme.
Probably. I mean, it's worth it. But yeah. So I think I got these going again. Sorry for the issues there.
Got Sundering Wave coming. I'm excited to see that.
Oh, nice. Hubert, what other factors are relevant for calculating the amount of dust you get from destroying equipment?
So yeah, I mean, we already talked about like the lower the durability and number of repairs. So like it's really like the total durability that the equipment has if you include the repairs as like a multiplier on their max durability. +1. Don't forget the +1. And then there it goes. And it didn't. It rooted I guess it did move one guy, and he's rooted. That's cool. Sorry, I had to watch it. And then yeah, what we talked about before, like generally the rarity of the equipment is going to factor into like how much dust and fragments you're going to be able to get from the equipment. And so like I think we've mentioned that there is also fragments, so you can get dust and fragments from equipment. For the best enchantments, you need both. You can kind of liken it to like Divine Essence and Greater Divine Essence in that way. And the cheapest equipment, the gold shop equipment, do not give you any fragments at all. You have to be destroying things that are found from like hunts or from patrols, or things that from seasonal items. Like those will give you the fragments. And yeah, like the number you can get is going to be tied to the rarity, and then you can, if you dust something that has completely full durability, no repairs on it, it's going to be about 1/10 the amount you can get if it is all the way down to 0 repairs and 0 durability. And the scaling on that is not linear, it's more exponential. So if it has just like no repair, it's at full repairs but at 0 durability, like it's not going to be 1/6 of the amount of max dust. It'll be more like 1/9 or so. So you get to close to half, I think, once all repairs. I think you're at like 60% when all repairs are gone.
Nice. Actually, question from chat first. Sorry. Do we anticipate Divine Essence or Greater Divine Essence being used in enchanting?
At least for right now, no. I could see that happening in the future when we have like the full crafting system out. I think it'll be more complex at that point. But for the time being, we wanted just a system that would work with an NPC and not to overcomplicate things too much. But yeah, I think in the future, enchanting will probably be more advanced than what it's going to be for now.
Nice. Last question on this topic for the moment, at least. Do we anticipate giving out any dust as part of the launch of durability?
I wasn't really thinking about doing that. I think, no one's equipment has been destroyed at this point, and that's kind of the source of that. But yeah, no, probably not.
Get out there and break yourself.
Why? Like, don't you want to? Like, why? To what end?
So that people go break their stuff.
They can just go break their stuff. They don't need dust to do that. Just go break your stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. They need dust, so they go break their stuff to get dust. If we give away dust, then they don't need to go break their stuff for dust.
We're agreeing. I was saying, to what end is giving away dust going to help anyone? I understand, like, why someone who, like, get me some dust so I can immediately sell it as soon as possible. But like that, I understand that. But like, to what end does it help the game? It's like, yeah, no, get rid of your stuff, like crush your stuff up and make some dust and then do cool stuff with it or sell it, whatever you want.
Another question from chat. Do we anticipate any difference for, like, for example, one-handed weapons versus two-handed weapons, or would it really just be the weapon itself?
That is a good question, because certain classes can equip a shield and have a one-handed weapon, and I think in practice that could result in them producing more dust by destroying 2 items instead of 1. But there are also classes that just can't equip shields, so it's not really a 1-to-1. It's just like maybe certain classes like knights and warriors are a little bit better for producing dust in that way. And I think I'd rather have that be the advantage rather than just making two-handed weapons give more, probably. With that said, though, the Excalibur does give quite a lot of dust compared to others, since it's like one of the rarest pieces of equipment out there.
Nice. Let's see. Next question. What is currently being worked on, and can we say anything about how close pet combat bonuses, durability, and enchanting are?
Yeah, so right now, I guess that's kind of 2 different thrusts happening. Like we're trying to finalize pet combat bonuses and durability and enchanting, so that we can release those. Like that's one side of the coin of where we're mostly focused, and then the other side is like our future goals of the glory and honor thing that has been on our roadmap, and we've talked about that as the other thing that we're really focusing on. So those are the main things. Pet combat bonuses, durability, enchanting, like those are all 3 very large things, and so it's taken a lot to kind of bring them all together, but they're all at this point kind of lining up together as far as we're still we did run into some bugs that were kind of major, and we kind of slowed down our progress on releasing, because we really don't want to release with like kind of major bug problems like that. So have been getting those resolved, and I think that they are mostly resolved at this point, and so we're kind of back to just balancing and testing again. But just we're waiting for just kind of that final point where like we feel that, okay, no more major changes. We'll look for bugs and maybe minor changes, and then we'll be pretty close to releasing at that point. If we hadn't found those bugs, it probably would have been, we would be pretty close to releasing like a week or so away today if those bugs hadn't existed, but they did. So we're close, but it's things can come up, and unfortunately they did for this case. So just we want to make sure it's in a good state when we release it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's much better to have it take a little bit longer and find problems than to like ship it and find problems after, because it's like people's money and their stuff, and they spend a lot of time on it. So it's that's important to us that we find those things before it ruins your life.
For sure. But yes, that will be a large release when that day comes. And a lot of these, like durability and enchanting, actually really all 3 of them, they impact a lot of different pieces of the game. Durability touches on a lot of different contracts, as well as new contracts to handle repairing and everything. Pet combat bonuses is like I think it's like 3 codexes worth of bonuses that are getting implemented. And then enchanting obviously is a whole new system that also the combat engine has to recognize and work right with. So they're definitely big releases, and all 3 of them being combined. But we feel that they go well together, and releasing them together makes sense.
Absolutely. Real quick, we're gonna have about 3 minutes to vote on this final. Looks like Kurt is doing his best, but I think Ibla's gonna squeeze past him here. He's got a bit more mana. All of his dudes are alive. I think that Ibla's probably got this one. So Mellow Fellow was able to defeat Esper. Good fight. Mellow had 2 heroes left and not a ton of mana, so it was a good bout. Good fight. Okay, now's the time. Hustle over there and vote on this last one. There's 100 Jewel up for grabs, so get over there. It doesn't show it now, but it will. Believe me on that. It sure will. So get over there and vote on that. I'm gonna fire. There it goes. Yeah, fire it back over to you, Bolon. Thanks for giving me a second there to rant and rave.
Thank you, sir. Hubert, any thoughts on replays of adding a like turn count to the display, potentially where like the PvP shot clock normally is in a live match?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think it kind of makes sense for that if you're trying to track the battle log versus what happened or what's happening as it's playing. I'm not sure how much effort that would be to implement, though. So I can kind of add it to Beetle or Typical's list of things, but it's probably not going to be one of our high priorities for a while.
Nice. Any thoughts on replacing the hunt raffle, the daily raffle, with a jackpot system so that at the end of each hunt, you have a small chance of hitting some kind of jackpot? This also could be something that grows. So, the longer it takes for somebody to hit it, the more that jackpot has in it. And then it kind of resets like a Powerball lottery.
I think that is an interesting idea. It would need to be set up in a way that is conducive, I guess, to the tokenomics of everything. So like the amount that could be rewarded would probably need to be tied to the number of hunts happening, and we'd probably need the jackpot reward chances to be fairly low to not like cause it to be a big drain on the quest fund. As it stands right now, the 1,000 jewel or 1,000 crystal jackpot typically is not a drain on the quest fund, depending on how many hunts have happened. There'd be kind of a lot to kind of figure out there, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
Nice. Any thoughts on having mods for void hunts? So these mods could be something that like rotate weekly, and we get to come up with just really fun ways to mess with things. And so we could have them be like buffs or debuffs. And so it could be something along the lines of like this week in void hunts, Warrior's brutal act only has 1 amnesia. Or it could be a debuff. For example, every 5th turn from the player, a random party member gets exhausted. So just different ways to like buff and debuff and just mix up void hunts on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, first off, I'll say I think that's a very cool idea. I like it quite a lot. I think if we were to do something like that, there'd probably be, if it was just kind of a global system where everyone has to deal with it, that's one way. There could be a different way where there's kind of the option of making it harder for some additional rewards of some kind. That's another way. I don't know if anyone's played. I'm sure people in the audience have played Hades, but I liked the heat system in Hades quite a bit, where you can make the game harder on yourself and kind of give yourself extra challenges. So I think that is a cool idea. Probably something that we should look into in some way, shape, or form when we're back to focusing on void hunts again. But yeah, I can't really say anything definitive at this point. But I do like that idea quite a bit.
Nice. Thank you, sir. Can you give any insight on how actively we are looking at / working on balancing?
So yeah, I don't know if there's like a specific thing that is being like thought about in this question, or just in general. Like right now we're looking at and focusing on balancing pet combat bonuses and the enchantments. So like we are looking at that. It's just for new features, not necessarily the existing classes and what's going on with them at the moment. We did do a fairly large balance rework with the release of Pirate. And so far it seems like, we're hearing a lot less kind of negativity as far as before that point. I think there probably are some things that should be adjusted. We've noticed a few things like Pirate may have a few overtuned things at the moment, as we do see Pirate kind of showing up in all of these teams. So that probably shows something, but yeah, right now, like I said, we're trying to balance pet combat bonuses and the enchantments.
Nice. Let's see. Last question for you, maybe, and then if we have time, I'll take a couple, and then we'll go into our wrap up. Will crafting heroes also need to be good fighters? For example, if you send a team to an area on the map to craft, will they need to fight along the way? I'm gonna expand this question a little bit and include gathering as well.
That's a really good question. I think for crafting, the idea has been that like in order to craft, you have to use facilities on lands to do that. So I think once you get to those lands, your heroes would generally be safe as long as the lands were safe. And then like traveling itself, I do like the idea of there needing to be kind of fighting potential, like random encounter type things that could slow you down or like block your progress entirely. But whether or not that would mean, it'd be the crafters themselves, or if there'd be a way to have there be like a guard that goes with them. So you have like a combat team to protect your gathering team or your crafting team. I think, with the way the game works and how many heroes there are out there, that may be perhaps more interesting for players, and allow people to have more specialized heroes as well.
Nice. Yeah, I really like the concepts there. Awesome. Let's see if we can knock out these last couple ones. What is the team's current priority? Are we focused on player acquisition or building out and polishing features more? I would say at this point we are in the more of like the build out of a couple features stage. It comes in waves, right? So as we put out new stuff, then we sometimes are able to focus on some player acquisition again. Then we focus on some more features. So it all just depends on what we have to try to drive that player acquisition. We're working on a couple of pretty major pieces at the moment. But so much of it is just, the more game we have, the more like routes to player acquisition we have, and that'll pretty much always be the case. But we are working on a couple of different things that could change the trajectory or the direction we take for player acquisition. All right, and last one, and we may circle back to this one next week if we have Dreamer as well. But it's essentially asking about it's been asked before about if Kingdom Studios would stake the Kingdom Studios jewel in the jeweler. And we've said that we would prefer not to do that because we are at that point essentially taking rewards away from the ecosystem. So there's two different questions, but they're related. The first one is max locking the Kingdom Studios jewel and then raffling off the accumulated jewel once per quarter or something similar. And the second one is essentially similar, but max locking it and then using the accumulated jewel rewards to reward various different things. It says to sponsor, so I'm assuming there's some different avenues that we could take there. Are those things possible? Yes, but at the end of the day, we are still taking those rewards away from the other stakers. If we using the first idea as an example, if we said, hey, we're going to stake our jewel, and then every quarter we're going to raffle off the accumulated rewards there, everybody else's APY in the jeweler goes down. Just flat out, their rewards go down by virtue of us being in the jeweler. So one person's rewards would go up every quarter because they would be the person that wins the raffle, or if we split it up, the people that won the raffle, but we would still be flat out making staking in the jeweler less rewarding to the players because we would be taking a portion of those rewards, even if we then recycled them to give them away. So I still think we run into a lot of that same problem. It also, it does realistically also limit our flexibility as a project if we have, all of our jewel or a large portion of our jewel or whatever the case may be locked up and inaccessible. So, like I said, we may revisit that one and let Dreamer talk about it as well if he has thoughts. But I just wanted to at least throw that out there of, yes, there are ways that we can recycle the rewards, but we are still preventing other stakers from getting those rewards. All right. That is it for the questions. I hope that bought an extra couple of minutes so we can see the end of this fight, because I really want to see the end of this fight. It's been really cool to watch so far. So I'm going to talk really fast because I don't know how to talk slow, but I'm going to say more unnecessary words to continue dragging this out for a couple of minutes. But we will go into our wrap up at this point. I just want to say, as always, thank you to everybody who has tuned in live and everybody who will watch this recording later. Special thank you to all of those that ask questions for us to come up here and answer every week. You can submit your questions in the AMA questions channel in Discord. And I believe there is 1 week left for the talk.defykingdoms.com website. But honestly, I would recommend just using the AMA questions channel in Discord at this point. Thank you for participating and being here and being a part of the community. Special shout out as well to everybody who fought in this tournament today. It has been a lot of fun to watch. Also, a thank you to both Winston and Hubert for taking the time out of their days to be up here participating in this AMA with us as well. As a reminder, I will not be here next week, so Winston will be hosting the AMA next week. Best of luck to you all. I hope you all make it through, and I'll see you on the other side. With that, Hubert, any final thoughts you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, always we appreciate the community. Just like you said, it's we wouldn't be here without you guys, and all the enthusiasm. I really appreciate that, all the enthusiasm I've seen in the chat today. It's always great to hear. It's a lot of work for us. I know it takes us a long time to get things done. We have a small team and a lot of challenges to deal with, but we're still here and we're still building, and we have great love for this game, and are always trying to look for the brightest future we can with it. So I hope we can continue to rely on you guys' support as we move into the future. I hope you guys are excited for our big release with durability, pet combat bonuses, and enchanting. It's getting close. I know I've said that, and it's been a few weeks since I've been saying that, and I wish it's maybe I jumped the gun a little bit. I just wish we wouldn't have ran into some of these bugs that we did. But it's getting closer, and it's just those things are resolved, and it just makes it all better. So yeah, we have other great things planned for the future. We have after those things are done, we're going to be focusing a lot on what we've been calling the glory and honor system, and we'll still have more codex releases, more classes to come, and just more and more things after that. So yeah, I think that's, hopefully I've dragged this out a little bit, but I think the people keep recovering themselves in this fight. So I don't know, Bolan.
The struggle is real. Winston, see what you can do here. Any final thoughts?
Well, I should just say thanks to all the players. Like, we've had a bunch of great players in this tournament, and special thanks to Mellow Fellow and Kurt for fighting before the tournament, so that everybody who can't watch it with us, this time isn't always the best for everybody in the world, so we want to make sure everyone has a shot at it. So thanks to those two specifically for fighting each other. I actually didn't watch it, but it was because Mellow just absolutely mopped the floor with Kurt, I guess. I don't know. He's got some really serious level 10 dudes. So he handled Kurt roughly, unfortunately. But if you voted for Mellow, then you did good on that one. Also, again, thank you to all the fighters, people who got in the tournament today. We'll be doing more tournaments as time goes on. Like Hubert mentioned, the off-season tournaments are going to become infused with USDC, like more money in there for people to win, more stuff going on. So hopefully more players are jumping into those. Also, we'll be doing a lot of one-off hosted tournaments every day, and I'm really trying here, but I don't know. These guys are hell-bent on stretching this out.
I think they heard us talking and have taken it as a challenge.
I guess I just need to do even shorter rounds next time. So, yeah, but thanks everybody. Thanks to all the players. We have such a great base community here, like just the people who have been here all along and have joined us along the way and are having fun, because that's really what we're about. We're making something that people can enjoy playing, and every day you can get up and check on your heroes and do your hunts or whatever it is. It's just going to keep growing from there. You get to keep building these heroes. We're not even we're like 1/5 through what the level ups could mean for these guys. So still a lot of game left. Yeah, sorry, Kurt, dude. It was ridiculous, man. It was I got into this meeting at 11:30, 30 minutes after when it started, and then 5 minutes after you were like letting me know it was over. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not going to watch that one and even really know what happened in it. So but yeah, this still looks pretty balanced. I mean, I couldn't tell you just by looking at it who is further ahead. I know Ibla has a few potions left here, lots of options. Looks like he's used his Call of the Colosseum already. I don't think I've seen Mellow use any of his Exalted stuff. I don't think he's used Second Wind. Maybe that's his only Exalted one. But yeah, thanks everybody. Sorry that we can't sorry that we can't finish this tournament live with you guys. So yeah, that's it for me, Bolan, unless you want me to dude, I don't know, man. I could do Star Wars if you want. I'm not doing Star Wars.
Nope. You know what? Everybody has to just go on their own and watch the end of this fight. But we do appreciate all of you. Oh man, that was a big hit though. But yeah, we do appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for being here. And Winston, I don't know if you have a message from anybody because it was tournament style, so I'm gonna guess probably not.
Nope, it's you. It's your turn. I don't think you've bullished us out in a very long time, so it's your turn.
I know, that's the best part of being the one to assign other people to do it. All right, fair enough. Oh, it's my favorite animation though. Oh man, I love the Kraken. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate all of you joining us, and we will see you all next week. As always, stay forever bullish.
Bullish!
Bullish!
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.